Hey YouTube, what's up? Thank you for coming to my channel and watching this video. If you're new to my channel, I talk about reality, awareness, self-awareness, knowing your true self, and evolving into your best version. You know, becoming one with that infinite portion of yourself. So, today is the actual really exciting video that I have for you guys, talking about LSD and my experience. And before I start, again, I have to say that I am not advising you to use LSD in any way, shape, or form. I'm just showing and sharing with you my experience and my opinion on, the fact that you could potentially use it for your growth and evolution and how I took that path, that route. And I took it, it worked, and now I'm where I'm at now, making these videos for you guys to, increase your self-awareness and expand your consciousness. So again, thank you for being here, and let's jump right into it. This is the video on LSD and consciousness, LSD and evolving into your highest version, my experience. So, I'm going to start off by talking about, the neurological functions of LSD. Why? So you guys can really understand the physical aspect of things. Remember, I'm going to combine every single thing when it comes to how the brain, what's happening inside, to psychologically how you can change as an individual, and spiritually and on that conscious level to ascend into higher levels of your being, of your highest self. So everything's going to come together, and you're going to see why I used LSD and how it got me to where I am at now, with what I know, how I'm able to think, how I'm able to perceive the world. It's very beneficial for me in my experience because I chose that route. But of course, I've incorporated not just LSD, I've incorporated the whole spectrum of consciousness, how to increase my consciousness, and basically every single way. And I've used whatever works for me because remember, every person is unique. So I used all the things that I felt that I resonated with, and in turn, consequently, that helped me grow. So, the neurological level, okay? What happens to your brain while you're on this drug? Well, what happens is that normally your brain on a sober level functions and has these independent networks in your brain that are responsible for, specialized functions like movement, hearing, seeing, and that once you're doing these certain things, a portion of the brain responds, meaning a portion of your brain is activated when you're hearing, speaking, or seeing. But on LSD, what happens inside that we're not really aware of at the time is that, especially when I took it, different pathways in the brain were communicating with each other. So what does that tell you? That tells you that literally things that would have never happened in your brain sober, right, are now happening on LSD. Therefore, before in the previous video, that's why I said that you're literally shifting into a reality where you're at an altered state of consciousness. You're no longer the same person before you take LSD and after, you take LSD or while you're on LSD, because you basically rewired the programming, the way of thinking, and connected different pathways in the brains, right, that have never spoken to each other. So now you can't even, now you're not even thinking the same. You're thinking completely different. You're thinking from, different angles in your brain that you would have never thought of. You're getting these ideas that you would have never thought you had the creativity to achieve. You're having these realizations about life. You see what I'm saying? So everything is getting rewired in your brain. And depending on the doses that you take can determine, how powerful the revelation or the realization you have within yourself. So that's why I experimented with small dosages, and that sparked new trains of thought, and then I took it on the next level so I could have those more powerful visualizations, ideas, and ways of thinking and seeing the world that I can assure you that I would have never have achieved if I would have continued, on the sober path. And I could have achieved it. Let me not say that, because I could have achieved it. It would have just taken longer. So I just want to say I'm going to talk more about it at the end of the video, but I want to say now that LSD is definitely a tool, in my opinion, to accelerate into, right? Into the spiritual path, the path of conscious exploration, of self-awareness. So LSD is a perfect tool that leads you, right? Remember, keyword, it leads you down a brilliant path of self-discovery. And that's the way I see LSD. But now, I talked a little bit about that. I wanted to give you those key points. And also, I want to mention that another thing that happens when you're on higher dosages of LSD is that your visual cortex, the way you perceive information through your eyes, is now changing as well. The same thing with what I said before. Other pathways of thought are changing and rewiring in your brain, the way you think, the way you hear. Now, the way you see is changing. There, hence LSD being a hallucinogenic drug. So you will now have more vivid ways of seeing things when before maybe you've never ever hallucinated before. But on LSD, now you can actually visualize, you can see things clearly. I'm talking about images in front of you, fractal imaging, seeing things from a bird's eye view, like from those little lenses that you put on the camera, so you can get a different angle, a different shot on the world. These are all the factors that take place within your brain. That more than likely, if you're living your normal life, working or going to school or going out to a party, you're never going to experience these altered states of consciousness because the fundamental living that we have as humans, not being aware of our infinite intelligent potential, is basically pretty mundane. I have to say that because if you look at the normal life that a human has, the average human being, their life is not that exciting. And they're viewing the world the same way and functioning the same way every single day. Remember, they're not surviving. Most people aren't surviving. Most people are surviving and they're not evolving into higher, levels of their being, of their potential. It's like it's waiting for you. You have a staircase of evolution that awaits you, but you got to start climbing the stairs so you can reach those new levels. So, going back to what I was saying is that you will never get that path of, seeing the world this way if you don't choose something. And now let me jump into the psychological functions of what happens on LSD. Well, what happens on LSD is that you have a loss of the ego. Now, on psychologically speaking, we're talking about the ego, which is that portion of yourself that is responsible for those animalistic urges, those desires, those impulsive reactions that you have, the way you associate judgment in the world, the way you compare yourself to other people. Oh, I'm better than that person. Oh man, that person has so much of the things that I don't have. Jealousy, hatred, greediness, ungratefulness that you don't have enough in life. This is all the ego. And this is a part of your brain, a part of you could say your subconscious, right? That has been functioning and is dominating your entire life. So when you take LSD, you get to feel what it feels like to have either no ego and have what many people call an ego death, or you can just experience a state of openness, integration with the world, of unity, of seeing that everything is actually energy. And then you start thinking that somehow, yes, I believe we do live in a holographic universe. I'm just giving you examples of the ways you might be thinking when you do take this drug. And when I took this drug, the certain thoughts that were similar to that way of thinking, therefore leading me with more desire to find the truth. And remember, your brain works a certain way. And in my opinion, through what I've experienced, it's really like a really complex, multi-dimensional computer. Now, I'm not going to go too much in depth about that because I will be making so many other videos just talking about how we can rewire our brain and how we can differentiate different parts of ourselves. Our animal nature with the ego, the impulsiveness, the desire, the lust, and then that higher intelligence that sees yourself and other people, that loves other people like they were yourself. That you see the world as a complete whole instead of seeing yourself separate, like the mainstream does. Oh, that person is black, that person's white, that person's Asian, that person's Hispanic, that person is better than me because of their color. Whether you know it or not, you have these associations within your mind, right? Of separation, of not loving someone because they're not your part of your family. These are associations that you've been taught since birth. And of course, I'm not saying that every person watching this has those associations with the world, with what they've learned, but a lot of people have these hidden motives, these hidden ways of thinking that, come up out of nowhere sometimes, and they're like, man, why do I think like that? And just that thought, just that association of thinking can lead you down a path of anxiety, depression. It all connects. So that's why you got to see, what are my options? What are ways that I can really start to evolve as a human being so I'm not stuck in this trap? And so I can actually embody my potential. Because I know that each and every one of you watching deep inside knows that you're meant for something greater. Inside, you have this inclination, you know, even if it's just to go out, to have fun, to party, to collaborate with other people, you still have dreams. And maybe if you're lost, you still feel like you have the potential to do something amazing, that you have something to offer this world. Even if you might not know what it is you want to do with your life yet. And that's okay. But if you're watching this video, then thank you, because you're taking that decision and you're making that decision to better yourself. You're becoming more receptive. You're connecting with a higher intelligence of yourself. Therefore, taking down your ego, removing, letting go of your egotistical tendencies, your egoic tendencies. And you're becoming one with this higher intelligence. And that's what LSD can effectively help you do. And it helped me. It helped me really see the world as one. When I had a hard time, I admit, I had a hard time seeing the world as, completely united. I just couldn't feel it. But when I did take LSD, that one time after my first initial spiritual awakenings, I can tell you without a doubt that I felt the integration, the connection with every other human being. I felt that in essence, everything in life was connected on a quantum level. It was like reassured within my brain, when before I had a feeling that it was true, but I really didn't know. So, the ego, it helps you take it away, and it helps you to see things from a higher perspective. It helps you see the world from not a selfish angle of, oh, it's only about me. I only wanted this for myself. I could care less about that person. I have nothing to do with that person over there across the street. Well, guess what? You have everything to do with that person because you're connected with that person. They might not be relevant to your life, right? But you never know who you're going to meet, who you're going to impact in your life. But if you're constantly evolving and becoming this greater version of yourself, you are shedding light. You're becoming an example for whoever meets you in your everyday waking life to become a better version of themselves. And that's not even speaking of the energetic things, the vibes that you're giving off that you're not even aware of, that's affecting the people around you. Yeah. So, you get me? This is what it led me to become. I was able to become more open, more receptive, and see the world in a different way. And guess what? All the things that happened within my brain, the scramble, right, that happened, all the networks and pathways in my brain that connected, they stayed, for the most part, connected. And I'm not even on LSD. I'm not on any drug. But it stayed there because you have to be ready. That's why you take it responsibly. Small doses first. You see what you want to get out. You set your intention, what you want to receive, what you want to discover. What are the things you want to think about and realize while you're taking the drug? Those are the things that I asked myself. And that's when I took them. But remember, it was always a tool for me. It was always just a route to combine with. Now this leads me to the next one. We talked neurologically, we talked psychologically. Now we're going to talk spiritually and on that conscious level of expanding your consciousness. While taking these drugs and experimenting, I was also meditating. Now let me give you a very, very important fact when it comes to meditating. Meditating actually does the same thing, similar things to LSD, naturally. The same part of integration, right? Two different hemispheres of your brain connecting and speaking to each other, those networks communicating. While on LSD, the same thing happens when you meditate. Maybe not so chaotically, like it feels like if you've taken LSD, that everything's just happening and you're, in this new way of thinking. But in meditation, both parts of your brain combine, unite in unison, like this. They come together, therefore leading to that wholesome Zen, quote unquote Zen, way of seeing things, way of viewing things. You're now able to detach from the fact that you might feel irritated, angry, anxiety, depression. Now you have an easier time disassociating from those emotions that, you know, truthfully speaking, they really don't help you with life at all. But it's because you're not aware of how to overcome those emotions or those thoughts, those negative thoughts. But when you meditate, when you take drugs for your growth responsibly as a tool to expanding your consciousness, then let me tell you, in my life, my journey, it worked wonders. And now I've reached a point where I can honestly say that I have no need for drugs the rest of my life. The rest of my life, I can never take a drug ever again. And I'm not even thinking about it because I do not need that for my conscious exploration any longer. Why? Because I took the path, I took the benefits, I took the lessons that I had to learn while, doing energy healing on myself, while meditating, while having a balanced diet, a plant-based diet, filling my body with positive energies, awakening parts of myself that, naturally were already there, but were waiting to become embodied. Was in a way waiting for my permission, waiting for me to reach that level of consciousness so that I can interpret these new ideas and realizations. Everything happens when you're ready. And if you're in the flow, you're open-minded, and you're coming out of love, and you actually want to grow, then that higher, infinite, intelligent portion of yourself will guide you. Just follow your instincts. Like my previous videos, I've said, follow what resonates with you. And you literally just get to experience in every moment the magic out of nowhere. It just happens. Why? Because you were doing things earnestly. Keyword, earnestly. From heart, from a state of equanimity, a balanced state, a wholesome state of actually wanting to do better for yourself, of evolving. And that's why we're here. Because I've realized my potential. that higher intelligent portion. And now I want you to realize your intelligent portion of yourself that can change your life for the better, tenfold, 100-fold even. But you have to start. And you have to little by little be aware of all these things when it comes to consciousness, reality, and by meditating, by taking, even by smoking weed, by taking LSD. I don't recommend it. You know what I'm saying? I can't tell you that. I can't honestly say, hey, if you want to reach these new states of consciousness, you need to take or try cannabis, you need to try LSD, you need to try shrooms. No, that is not what I'm saying. I'm telling you that me, on my journey, I chose to experiment a couple of times to expand my mind, to rewire the programming that was no longer benefiting me in life. Separation, jealousy, envy, all these ways of thinking, anxiety. I wanted to get rid of them. So what did I do? I searched up and I researched all the different ways that I could improve myself. And LSD popped up for self-improvement. So I took that path while meditating, while, honestly, authentically wanting to improve my life. I got what I intended for, intended to achieve through my intention every single time I set the intention, therefore leading me to finally reaching the state where I don't need drugs anymore. And I've never needed drugs. But I decided, remember, free will, you have that choice in every moment to choose whatever it is you want to do. So my path, my journey, I felt that it would be beneficial to try it out. So that's what I did because it resonated with me. So take that into consideration and really, really start to think how you can improve your life, how you can improve the way you think. What's blocking me from seeing the world from this higher perspective? What's, not allowing me to expand my consciousness? Is it my ego? Is it my habits? Is it my negative thoughts, the way I think? Then you need to start meditating. That's like the go-to. But by making this video, I'm offering you what I've chosen to take. Remember, these are, quote unquote, illegal substances. Therefore, I can't tell you to take them, but I'm just sharing with you that I took them for my growth, and I no longer take them anymore. I have no interest in taking drugs, but throughout my journey, I said that it was a tool, that it would get me to where I needed to be, that it would help me, it would assist me, and therefore, through my, spiritual awakenings, 1, 2, 3, 4 spiritual awakenings that I've reached a level of maturity where I can actually say that, this is where I'm at, this is where I was, and now this is where I want to go. Cutting out all the bad habits or all the habits that I no longer need. Like smoking weed, going back to the previous video, a couple of videos back that I made. The fact that I experimented to see if I could smoke weed along my spiritual journey, but I reached a point of maturity, conscious maturity, self-awareness, where I realized that there was no need for cannabis. There's no need for LSD. But I can't tell you when you're ready for that. You have to be the one to really become aware, self-aware, do all the methods that resonate with you, and therefore you can make and come to that conclusion that, all right, I'm good, I'm happy where I'm at, and I know where I want to go now throughout my journey in life. So I hope you guys are liking this video thus far. This is the mainstream drug series. So I know this is a very popular drug, and I had to make this video because I've taken it myself and I wanted to share with you guys my perspective, how it helped me. It helped me shed away my ego, see the things, wholesomely, holistically, everything energetically connected. But remember, I was combining this with meditation, eating healthy. Guys, I could care less about the experience. And this is the last message that I want to tell you guys. I didn't care about the experience of what it feels like to be on drugs. I could care less about that. Because yes, you're going to be at this altered state of consciousness. You're going to be having hallucinations. That's all fun and dandy. But what I wanted to know was the truth of life. What is God? What is the universe? What's reality? How does it work? Who am I really? And how can I realize this for myself? What path can I take to find out the truth? And throughout all the decisions that I've made in my life, it has brought me closer and closer to the truth, to those big questions and mysteries of life. But it's because I came from that intention. So if you do choose to, along your path, to try any drug or anything in life, ask yourself, why am I taking this? Am I taking this because I want to evolve and become that higher intelligence as one, combine and function from that, and become a wiser, intelligent, loving being, right? Or am I just taking it because I want a really cool hallucinogenic experience that I can have and add to my, you know, list of things that I want to experience? Ask yourself that. Be honest with yourself. Be authentic. Because it's your life. And you only live in this life once. Well, this person, the person that you see in the mirror. So, really take into consideration because it's important what you do with your life and who you want to become. But I'm glad you watched this video. Thank you. I send you love and light. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think about this video. And I'll see you in the next one.